So, what do we do, Dan?
I'll tell you what we do, Dan. We search for lost media. One of my absolute favourite shows when I was a kid was a show called Engie Benjy, starring the respected and revered Declan Donnelly. As much as I loved this show when I was a kid, I very rarely watched it as it was airing on TV. I mostly just watched the same few episodes I owned on home media. I owned 2 Engie Benjy VHS tapes growing up, one of which being official, and the other of which being a series of TV recordings that my granddad taped for me all the way back in 2004. I absolutely loved this tape. Even after I'd well exceeded the age I should have been watching Engie Benjy, I still loved this tape. I'll never forget the days of going around my grandparents' house after school, popping in the Miffy plus Engie Benjy tape into the VCR player, and, as corny as it may sound, being transported to what was essentially a completely different point in time. A simpler time where the worries and concerns of the real world just weren't something you were even aware of. Unfortunately, due to a miscommunication, the tape eventually ended up being thrown out. Some of you may wonder why that's a big deal. Engie Benjy was a decently popular show in the UK, and as a result, every single episode of the show was eventually released to DVD. Not only that, but 3 Engie Benjy DVDs have been ripped and uploaded to YouTube on a channel which may or may not be official. Why does it matter that I no longer own a crummy VHS tape which only contained a handful of episodes anyway? Well, it's not that simple. While I can still watch the episodes themselves whenever I want, everything surrounding the episodes, including adverts and idents, are now gone. To me, those were what made the experience of watching the tapes so compelling. Going back to what I said about feeling like you were travelling back in time, that really is what these blank VHS tapes are. They are essentially time capsules. They capture real-time television broadcasts in their purest form. And even as a young kid, I knew there was something important about that. And when I was hit with the realisation that I would never be able to watch all of that stuff again, it hurt for a long time, and I kind of had to just take solace in the fact that there were at least a few remnants of this tape archived on the internet available to watch at any time. But then something hit me. This crazy idea began to form in my head. Would it be possible to track down every single piece of content that was ever recorded on this VHS tape and recreate the entire thing from memory with just a basic editing software and some good old-fashioned internet sleuthing? Yeah, I said this was a crazy idea for a reason. I'm obviously well aware that there's a 95% chance of this being an impossible task, but it definitely made me curious just how much of this tape is actually out there. The recordings are from 2004, just under a year before YouTube was created. Given how obscure CiTV is in the grand scheme of things, I think it's fair to say that not everything will have survived the test of time, and a few things will have definitely slipped through the cracks. But there are things that have survived, such as these 2 Frosties commercials, one about football and one about swimming, this Coco Pops advert.
Well, capture my great news, now there's even more. Capture my great news, now there's even more.
The audio at the beginning is a bit scuffed, but it's better than nothing. This Uno advert, which now seems to be deleted from YouTube, so thank God I downloaded it when I did, as well as several CiTV idents. But other than that, I haven't found much. I'm sure most of you watching this are at least familiar with the concept of lost media, but if you're not, it's essentially any piece of media, whether it be a film, show, game or book, which is currently unavailable to be viewed by the public, or at least it's very difficult to be viewed by the public. Lost media is one of my favourite topics on the entire internet. It manages to combine so many of my favourite things: nostalgia, cartoons, internet rabbit holes and unsolved mysteries. If you've never watched any lost media related content, I highly recommend this video by Pat Mac. It runs through some of the most interesting lost media cases and does a good job explaining why searching for lost media is so important. Something else that's discussed in the video is the idea of VHS recordings likely being the keys to resolving a lot of lost media mysteries.
Thank goodness the method of VHS recording existed. It unfortunately would be impossible to have every second of every network recorded and saved, so there will always be stuff that falls through the cracks. For many of these limited airing cases, we're just lucky someone out there taped it, and not only that, still had their tape.
This was largely what inspired me to want to make this video. Idents and adverts, which air in between TV programs, or continuity as it's often called, is so difficult to search for because a lot of the time the only hope of it being found is if someone out there happens to own a recording of it and decides to dump it onto the internet. It's not like we can just contact the people involved in creating the content, since most of this stuff has no real credits to speak of. So all we can really rely on are these professional VHS dumpers, who may or may not have what you're looking for tucked away somewhere in their collection. So I guess what I want to do with this video is give some kind of call to action. If there's a chance that anyone out there watching this has a VHS recording of Engie Benjy from around mid to late 2004, I implore you, please find a way to upload them onto the internet. While I'd encourage you to do this regardless of what episodes you have, I want to give a bit of information regarding my VHS tape, just so people know exactly what I'm looking for. These are all the episodes of Engie Benjy that I had recorded on my VHS tape. I've tried to arrange them in the order that they were played on the tape. The ones in green are the ones that I know for certain to be in the correct order. The ones in orange are the ones I'm uncertain of. During the end credits of almost every episode, they would either play a trailer for Sonic X, a trailer for a cartoon called Atomic Betty, or this specific rendition of the 3:15 song.
Party time! There's a magic place for you to be. It's called CiTV. You can go there every day to see who's on at 3:15. Do you want to go today? Do you know the way? Won't you show me how? There's a magic place for us to be. That's called CiTV. We can go there every day and see who's on at 3:15.
There are a few exceptions, such as the episode Night Flight, which had a trailer for the Rugrats spin-off All Grown Up play in front of it, the episode Dan Day, which had a trailer for the show Sitting Ducks, and the episode Boisterous Bike, which played some kind of 2D animation of a medal with the CiTV logo in the middle of it. If a TV recording of one of these episodes were to show up online, I would almost instantly be able to tell you if it was the same recording from my VHS. Well, I say that, but there is kind of a funny story surrounding that. The episode that played first on my VHS tape was the episode Jollop in the Driving Seat. What's interesting about this episode is that there's actually an upload of it on YouTube, which is clearly a CiTV recording someone had dumped online, as evidenced by the watermark in the corner and a few other things which we'll get to. There is a chance that this is a recording of the exact same airing that was recorded on my VHS tape. The problem is, there's no way to 100% confirm this. I know I said that I would instantly be able to tell thanks to the end credits, but, and I know this is going to sound suspicious, my recording of the episode Jollop in the Driver's Seat cut off the end credits. Here's a rough recreation of what the episode looked like on my VHS.
Press the green button to go. Press the red button to stop. And the steering wheel is for turning. Got it?
And then it would cut to a series of ads which played before the next episode of Miffy and Friends. It's so frustrating because if this was a recording of any of the other episodes, I would be able to tell if this was the same recording as mine. Every other episode played until at least part way through the end credits. But oh well. Even if this isn't the same airing as my recording, it's still cool that something like this has been documented. Now, I've mentioned the topic of lost media a few times in this video, but so far nothing I've mentioned is actually lost. But let's now talk about something which, as far as my dumbass can tell, actually is lost media. At the beginning of the same Jollop in the Driver's Seat upload, there's a very faint whistle jingle that plays. Did you hear it? It sounds vague, but I know exactly what it's from. It's from this.
Whose shape is this? Well, it's not Engie. And it's not Mog. And it's not even Miffy.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
That's right. Hello, Thomas.
Let's watch Thomas
right now.
That right there is the only installment I've been able to find in what I'm calling the Whose Shape Is This idents. These played in front of almost every Engie Benjy episode on my VHS, except the shape wasn't of Thomas, it was of course of Engie Benjy. I haven't been able to find any of the Engie Benjy segments on YouTube, but I'm pretty confident they are out there. The same channel that uploaded the Jollop in the driver's seat recording also uploaded several other Engie Benjy episodes, all of which being recordings from CiTV. In this video, we can actually view the very end of the Engie Benjy Whose Shape Is This segment. The evidence to suggest that the whole segment is available comes from this video. The ident that this image comes from was available on YouTube at one point. The upload has since been deleted, but thankfully I managed to download it beforehand.
We can go there every day and see who's on at 3:15.
So, what are we...
And there we go. At the very end of the jingle, we cut to the beginning of an Engie Benjy episode, just like this upload from February 2018. This means that the recordings these episodes came from are likely on the internet somewhere in full, and if that's the case, then the Whose Shape Is This segments featuring the shape of Engie Benjy might actually be obtainable, so I'll keep searching for them and possibly get in contact with people if I really have to, and if I do end up finding this thing, I'll certainly give you some kind of update. Out of all the things from the VHS tape that I've yet to find, the Whose Shape Is This segments are the last thing left that I'm genuinely passionate about finding, because quite frankly, I'm content with what I have. For a long time, I never thought I'd really enjoy watching the Engie Benjy episodes without the continuity in between them, but after watching all of them in preparation for this video, I honestly had a great time, though it kinda sucks to realise that the episodes aren't nearly as good as I remember them being. Not that that's a surprise to me in any way, it's just a little bit disappointing. Watching the episodes by themselves and having all of these nostalgic memories brought back to me made me realise that, yeah, I'm never gonna find everything that was on this VHS tape. But that's okay, because it's honestly incredible just how much of this content has survived to this day. My favourite part of this entire journey has been uncovering things that I would have completely forgotten ever existed had I not rediscovered them all these years later. And that kind of taught me another lesson. It's all fine and good looking for stuff that you can't find, but what's equally important is helping to preserve stuff you already have found. Not a lot of people know about this stuff, and not all of the ones who do care enough to properly preserve it. So there's a good chance that a lot of this stuff could just disappear from the internet without warning. Just look at the amount of videos that have been deleted in the time I've been looking this stuff up. That's why I'm making it my mission to archive and preserve any piece of nostalgic TV media that I can find. I've created an archive.org account, which I'm going to use as a database for all things British early 2000s. I'm going to save URLs to the Wayback Machine, but I've got to be careful to make sure the videos get properly embedded, which isn't always easy. And most importantly, I'm going to make sure that more of our digital history doesn't become lost to time. And if you love nostalgic media the same way that I do, I invite you to join me on my mission. Go find obscure media from your childhood which left a huge impact on you. If you find it, make sure it gets the proper preservation it deserves. And if you can't find it, tell someone about it, because someone out there might just know exactly where to find it. I'm looking forward to helping preserve media history. Join me, shall you? And that's going to do it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one, because I've been wanting to talk about this stuff for years now. I'm Monobrow Man, Teddy is the physical media I must protect, and hopefully I see you again at some point within the next 2 months.